dream slash astral shifting is kind of, I guess that there's two main ways that you can. There's the actual, you're literally asleep and you're dreaming, and your spirit, as you're dreaming, your spirit actually transforms into an animal. Then there is the sort of visionary astral side of things, where you're technically awake, but you're doing some kind of visionary work or even astral projection work. And whatever you're doing, it doesn't matter, whatever you're doing, your spirit shifts into an animal as you're doing it. You can use the dream shift, and this is my favorite part ever about, well, I don't know. I have two favorite parts. The part where you're actually dreaming and you get to experience that feeling, but there's the half of it where the visionary side of it that I just really like a lot, because you can do this shift in a vision to find out exactly, what you look like. What color is your fur? What does your face look like? What do your ears look like? What's your tail look like? And is there something else present? Because some people feel as if they've got more than one. Usually there's a dominating, animal, but they feel as if they might be more than one. And so in that visionary, you start to see, and it's not uncommon at all, to see it meshed and combined, these different species combined into one figure. Actually, that's probably a sign that to you that no one half of you is, basically every aspect of you is too important to do without. So instead of seeing, a wolf over here, a goat over here, that kind of thing, it's a mesh of creatures in one, because you can't be one without the other. No matter how small of a piece it is, you might, for example, see, like for me, I see wolf but with goat horns. You see that even that really small piece of you is too important to just be one or the other. And we do talk about the fact in ancient paganism, we do talk about this fact of, especially when you're comparing the belief of, in ancient paganism is what I teach, the belief of whether or not something could be physical, actually physical shifting. But in ancient paganism, we're no stranger to hybridized things. That doesn't faze us at all. That's actually quite normal. So, if you're sitting there going, I had one person, I was trying to teach this to, and she asked me, I feel like I'm some kind of feline, except for I don't know why, but I think I have two tails. Is that possible? And you can't ever rule anything out, because what you see in the vision has some kind of meaning. It always has some kind of meaning or purpose. And I said, if you're seeing two tails, there's a reason for it. It sounds stupid until you find out whatever the purpose of it is, and then it actually ends up being usually quite profound. So going into that vision on purpose is just like any other thing that you would do for visionary work or astral work. You have to usually get yourself in a bit of an altered state. Some of us that are really gifted in visionary don't even need that altered state to get the vision. But typically you do have to put yourself in kind of a trance-like state. Close your eyes, and then with the intent that, okay, I'm going to see, what am I, in my animal form? How do I look like? So in that state, you go deep enough, and your spirit actually does kind of start to transform. If you're just getting a light vision, then your spirit might not actually transform at that point yet, but you would still see what you look like, you know. In the dream, you know, sometimes it's not that we're looking down and seeing paws, but we're running on all fours, and we realize all of a sudden that, you know, it feels balanced, like our back legs are not too long and our front legs are a lot longer, you know, and it feels not only balanced but really, really fast, and like you can jump like 12 feet, you know. I mean, it's that feeling that you just know you're not human anymore. And then when you finally do look down, you see paws and things. So sometimes it's such a abrupt thing, especially when you're actually asleep and dreaming. It's such an abrupt shift that literally the minute you fall asleep and you start dreaming, you don't even remember how you got to where you are, what you're doing. You just know that you're not human anymore. So in actual being asleep dreams, you know, it's just kind of, when it happens, it's uncontrolled, and usually it's designated to any specific, you know, thing that you're trying to look for, and you can't always, you know, force yourself to dream about something when you're asleep. And that is why doing the dream work while you're awake can be very helpful. If you're traveling to other realms, spirit travel with the astral projection thing, I would highly recommend doing the spirit travel to the realm of the ancestors, to the spirit realm, you know, even into the realms of the past, to learn more about either whether it's from your guides, spirit guardians and guides, or whether it's just to see past lives or something, to learn more about, you know, why am I this, you know, and you know, where does it come from, you know. The origin of who you are is very important, you know, and doing it in such a way that wherever you end up going, it's just going to give you more answers, versus trying to do this just to have an out-of-body experience. You should never do that. You should never do it just to have the experience of, okay, my spirit's going to leave my body, and my spirit is going to shift into an animal so I can enjoy that feeling. It's never about that. You're always, when you do any kind of dream work, you always have a purpose for it. It should never be used as something recreational. Your body can literally end up being a vegetable if you decide that you don't want to ever come back to it, you know, and your life is at that point basically wasted. You put burden on anyone else that has to care for your body, you know. So really the answer here is doing it to, maybe in dreams, you know, to prepare you for perhaps a phantom or even physical shift, to prepare you for mind, body, soul being balanced enough. And I'll talk about that more later in physical shifting videos. You know, and to find out more about you and how and why you are the way you are. I know when growing up, I knew that I felt like an animal stuck in a human's body, but I didn't know why, and it really bothered me. When I realized, okay, I've had many past lives as this, you know, then it kind of, it didn't bother me at all anymore. I embraced it. So, you know, whatever the reason, you know, what I'm trying to say is, you know, you never misuse this dream work kind of stuff. Really, you should just allow yourself to, when you have those dreams, allow it to happen. But in my opinion, the only time you really need to do that usually is when you're actually literally asleep and dreaming. Or, like I said, when you're doing visionary work and you want to see exactly who you are and what you look like, you know, what you are, because a lot of people don't know for sure. You know, like I was saying, that girl, she said, I know I'm some kind of feline. She didn't know which feline she was. You know, there's a lot of different species out there. It's very important to directly identify the species, because that is a part of, you know, it's basically kind of like your name. It's a part of, it defines who you are. You never choose it. So you can't just do this and say, I want to shift into this. Nope. It has to be something that your soul is naturally already. You know, I wouldn't be able to ever shift into a lion because that's not part of my soul. But I can shift into a wolf because that is part of my soul. See what I'm saying? So your spirit can never shift into something it is not. It just can't. We'll be doing Phantom Shift, an actual how-to. Now, I did a how-to before, but it was intertwined into like a class-like, step-by-step. It had several different videos and they built on themselves, and the Phantom Shift was mixed up in that. So I'm going to be doing a Phantom Shift video next where it actually is just Phantom Shift by itself, and you don't have to, you know, search through a bunch of content to find the Phantom Shift.